pretty special group to bring out. So would you please join me in welcoming the casting director, Jennifer Venditti, the director of photography, Darius KHONDJI, writer, producer, and editor, Bronstein, actress, ODESSA A'ZION, actress, GWYNETH Paltrow, actor and producer, Timothée Chalamet, and last but certainly not least, director, writer, producer, and editor, SAFDIE.
No reason I should have been last.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Congratulations on terrific film. I thought maybe we could start with Josh and Ronald, because I'd love to, first of all, let's just remind folks, you guys have been working together for many years now. I think the original collaboration was Daddy Longlegs. It's 2009, and all the way through since then. Can you just share what was the spark of the idea for this story, and then how you two kind of co-write? What your process is? Is it something where one of you works?
How much time do we have?
Up to you.
I start. He's going to cut me off, so let him start.
That's part of this is the rapport. It actually goes back even longer when I just accosted him on the street because I loved his face to act in something. The beginning, I've always been a huge fan of table tennis. Maybe it's like some sort of antidote to my ADD, or the concept of the term ping pong is like more applicable to chaos than it is the sport. But I grew up playing it. My dad, played in tournaments when he was a kid, and my uncle Johnny played at Lawrence's actually. He played, and he would have Dickie Miles and Marty Reisman and Saul Schiff and Bob Guskoff and all these legends of the mid-20th century. And my wife didn't really know that. But she knew that I was really into this. She knew my uncle talked a lot, and she was at a thrift store and saw this book that said Confessions of a Table Tennis Hustler and Champion. She's like, oh, Josh is gonna love this. So she bought it for me, and she's a producer on the movie as well, and ran the research department. And she said, I know you're not gonna read this, probably, maybe ever, but when you do, I think it's right up your alley. And I read it, and the thing that just jumped out at me, I immediately called Uncle Johnny. I was like, do you know about this? He's like, oh, it's Uncle Lawrence. I knew Lawrence. He was the first black business owner in the Times Square district. Did you know that? I said, now I do. So I was really, really attracted to this group of characters. They were these intense dreamers. They were misfits and outcasts. They were 40 blocks north of what was happening in the art scene in Greenwich Village, the Beats. And if the Beats were outsiders, I have no idea who these people were. But they had this dream, they played this thing, they had no idea where they were gonna sleep that night, but you'd find them in a hotel in London, or you'd see them in Cairo or Munich, or dining at some fancy restaurant that they're not paying for. And they had this kind of international, post-war, silent generation vibe, but they had this dream that no one respected. No one cared about it. The trophies that they had, if no one was looking, would get them on the subway in New York City. Like that was that's the space they occupied in New York. And the fact that no one believed in their dream hardened them and made that dream even more intense. And all of them kind of went through they lived outside of time because of their dreams, and they all ended up having these strange lives because they were existing outside of time. So that was kind of the seed of it. And then, Ronnie and I fighting. That's where the fighting begins.
Unlike Josh, I had no interest in table tennis at all. I've never had an aptitude for sports. As a matter of fact, when I was very young, I've kind of formed my identity in reaction to it in like an obnoxious way. When I was in, I don't know if I can tell that story. But when I was in 6th grade, I used to climb up on the batting cage at recess and heckle all the kids that were playing baseball. And the whole cage, the foundation fell over and pinned me to the ground in front of the entire school. But anyway, so Josh comes to me and says, I want to make a movie about the world's greatest table tennis player. And, I have to find an access point into that. And for me, it was, since I don't love the game, I don't have a relationship with it, there's something about even the name ping pong. It just seems like it's designed to mock and humiliate anybody who might have a great enthusiasm for the sport. So like if a cartoonist, says, oh, I don't draw comic books, I draw graphic novels, like I had insecurity. So to me, it was like Marty emerges as like a big existential joke. Like, this guy, just like the random lottery of genetics, has given this guy this God-given gift. He's the best in the whole world at this thing that nobody respects. And I'm like, well, that's a great way, in a very expressive way, to explore the costs that are attendant to the pursuit of any dream, especially when your entire identity is fused with the dream. I was like, oh man, it's humiliating. It's humiliating, and there's so many sacrifices, and your relationships suffer, and you have no security, and like again, even dreams that are not fringe, these are like universal things. So I was like, oh, this would be, it's both ridiculous and kind of profound. And I think that's the intersection where we always try to operate.
So my understanding is, Josh, before you guys started writing, you reached out to Timmy.
Well, when I met Timmy, it was just before Call Me By Your Name came out, and I met this young kid who seemed like ready to burst out of his own skin, and I saw in him, in this energy, this kind of intense kind of energy, almost like this happy addict, that this guy's chasing happiness. But I saw inside this young kid who saw a supreme version of himself. And that person existed in the greatness of the clouds. He did not exist on planet Earth. And I was, I just, that energy felt so appropriate for one of these characters in this world. So before we put one word down, I reached out to Timmy and I said, I want to tap into that energy that I've never seen anyone really, look and explore with you. And that was the beginning of it.
Timothy, was it an immediate, this sounds like a great idea, or was ping pong something that gave you a little pause as well?
No, I loved principally the idea of working with Josh. It's very simple. You try to work with the best directors, and being from New York, being a huge admirer of Uncut Gems, before that, Good Time and Heaven Knows What. And I was saying last night, admiring Josh's worldview to the point that as an actor you feel confirmed by being included by it, that the subtext of him reaching out to you feels like him saying, all right, you haven't become polished enough by the industry, or you're dented enough to be worthy of my worldview, if that makes any sense. And equally, what Ronnie was saying I thought was really quite beautiful, specific to the movie, is this pursuit of something in life, a passion you have, absent financial glory, absent, widespread fame. Sort of like obscure sports you see at the Olympics now, but people are training for 4 years, and that's their passion. There's something so sincere about it. It's less obfuscated even than what we do, and when commerciality gets involved and things like that. So it was twofold. I don't know if that answers the question at all.
No, that's great.
I will say, just to add to that, one of the things that I was also interested in, something that I learned very much by working with him, was that he has, he expresses himself through acting, and just his style in general in life is a larger-than-life realism. And he has an iconic way of just emoting, and that was something that I experienced the first moment I met him. And that was something that I learned to really appreciate very much in the edit, when you realize you have these moments when you can stop and make something iconic in its own way.
I also was thinking about earlier this year, Timothy, when you won the Best Actor SAG Award for A Complete Unknown, you said in your speech, quote, "The truth is, I'm really in pursuit of greatness. I know people don't usually talk like that, but I want to be one of the greats. I'm inspired by the greats. I'm inspired by the greats here tonight. I'm inspired by Daniel Day-Lewis and Marlon Brando and Viola Davis, as I am by Michael Jordan and Michael Phelps, and I want to be up there, close quote. Was that something, was the idea of greatness something that you were, you know, intrigued by even before this, or was this something that already was kind of fueling that thought
That's a
process?
great question. I gotta like pick my words very carefully. That, you know, I feel like, you know, that's in your mind, you know. I feel like, you know, why pursue this kind of lifestyle? It's crazy if you're not trying to do it at the highest level. And in many ways, when I think back to that moment, I think it's because I was coming off this movie that I feel like every character I play, because I'm a, you know, personality-less bag of flesh that just gets assigned roles, like it rubs off on me in some way. So looking back at that, I mean, I think that's a little bit of what was going on in my head. But certainly, I mean, sitting up here with Gwyneth, with Ronnie, Darius is a legend. Odessa is a legend in the making. It was amazing watching Odessa in this because she was given this performance of a lifetime, and I got the sense that she didn't know how incredible the performance was that she was giving. And also, I wanted, you know, Jack Fisk, the production designer on this, did a fantastic job.
Gwyneth, you were sort of, I think you may have even used this phrase, like semi-retired before this role. Can you describe what it was about this that lured you back, fortunately?
Sure, thank you. Well, I think it was at a time of my life when I was coming to the end of a chapter of everybody living under one roof. And I felt a tremendous sadness and also a possibility of freedom to maybe go back. And it just worked out that Josh called me up, and he's so brilliant. And, you know, I was so, I don't know, I think I felt so much for Kay. I felt this kind of broken, lost. You know, she had wanted to pursue greatness, and she had gotten it, and then she made this sort of devastating, life-altering decision, thinking it was for safety, but gave up all her agency and all her artistry, and it was so tragic. And I started to think about the choices that we make, you know, and these invariable lives that we live out, and the eventualities that happen when we make these relatively small choices at the time. And I just found her so moving, and I thought the script was so bananas, and I was like, how the fuck is he gonna do this? Like, I just couldn't even fathom how it would come together. And I love boldness and I love risk, and I was really excited to work with Timmy, who I think is just like the most incredible actor, and he was so wonderful to, you know, I was nervous coming back in, he was so nice to me, and it was such a great experience.
She really was nervous. She said to me, I hope I remember how to do this.
Well,
I laughed.
yeah, right.
But it was perfect for the part. So vulnerability was there, and she brought that vulnerability, which takes a lot.
Odessa, I wonder, you know, it feels like Rachel is not only Marty's girlfriend, but also kind of a mirror of him. Like, she has her own ambitions and dreams, but I guess the obvious difference is that in the 50s, there was going to be even more of a limitation on her because of her gender. And I just wonder if you can talk about how you, you know, thought about her as you were, you know, getting ready to play this part.
I think that she's like the only person that can play the ultimate player. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you said, you read the script and you're like, how the fuck is all this shit gonna happen? Like, it's crazy. And I didn't expect I didn't know what Rachel was doing with Marty with the black eye. That was insane. I was telling Ronnie too, and Josh, but when we were filming it, me and Ronnie were talking about what a crazy thing to do for an actor in a scene, to give them like 9 emotional turns in one scene. It was like so cool and fun. And yeah, Rachel, I just think she's the coolest. I will never play a cooler character ever. She's such a badass, and she could play the player. Yeah. They both won in the end. She got her man, and he got his shit done.
She's the biggest believer. The movie is very much about belief, and and she is the believer. And then your dreams are about who believes in them in a way. And that's what you played so well. You played the belief you saw in his dream a way out of your nightmare in a way. And you played that so well, also with fierceness, with a fierceness. So.
Well, it was really fun.
I was lucky to have. Look at this. Look at these people I have.
Well, we're gonna talk, bring in another to the conversation. Jennifer, I guess a hallmark of Josh's movies, which you have worked on since Heaven Knows What, and I think been the casting director on since Good Time, is that they blend, obviously, great professional actors and non-professional actors. And I know sort of street casting is a specialty of yours. I wonder if you can talk about what you were looking for on this one and how you found it.
Well, first of all, I just want to say that Josh, my collaboration with Josh is more than just about cinema. It's really, casting for me is like a portal to understand humanity. And I think we have a love of the cinema of life. And so just to be able to, what I do, it doesn't work unless you have someone that loves humans like Josh does. And no role is considered the starring role and another role as a co-star. It's like every role, as we know, every role is so important. It's like one line to, you know, the star of the film, it's equally important. So the level of attention and detail that we put into each of those things is just a deep exploration. And so I guess the question is, how did I go about this? I mean, we start by, it's like the level of research and backstory that Josh and Ronnie have is, I enter the world that they've been in and I learn. And I think it's what Ronnie said, it's like, I spoke to so many ping pong, I want to understand, I don't want to just find the people, I want to understand the world and I want to learn about the world as well. So we start out with lots of consultants, going to table tennis places, lots of interviews with people, and then creating like a safe space. So whether it's a trained actor, I mean, like Odessa knows, like we worked a lot together. She was on a movie, we were remote. It's like giving her as much possible that she can work with so she can create her tape and understand the world that Josh, to a person that's never acted before, we create a really safe place for people to come in and play. And I think the idea of finding people that have had life experience that will lend to the page, and the alchemy between the people that know where the scene's going and the magic and the mystery of the person that doesn't. And when those two things collide, it's like magic. And that's what we're trying to do.
I will say, because she won't, it's looking at the tapes that she sends in, they always inform the script. She's more than a casting director. First of all, she's made a brilliant documentary called Billy the Kid, but she's also an acting coach in a weird way. You know, she's the first, she's the gate to the film. She's the first kind of interaction that people have with the film, particularly first timers. And she brings them in and she works with them and lets them know they feel, she induces a confidence in them. And I don't know, those tapes, I learn a lot. They are something that I watch in my spare time still to this day.
And between the two of you guys, I think you have a specialty in finding interesting faces, even in people who are there for a second. Period, I guess, associated faces.
They're all stars. Every
Yeah,
single
yeah.
person in the movie is.
Photography, we love, it's like we're obsessed with faces. That's the thing. And sometimes we find such incredible faces and they just can't be themselves on camera. It's like, it's hard. It's hard to do it. And we try to, then we'll give it to background or something that's like, we don't want to lose a face. But this idea of being, as hard as it is for what you guys do, knowing the craft, this idea of someone having magic in them and then being able to do that, saying someone else's words in front of a camera, it's super hard. So our hearts are broken a lot too, because we'll try and some people can't, and then so it's like it's a real process, but it's incredible.
And Josh and Ronald, are you guys, when from the writing stage, are there certain parts where you're like, let's set this one aside for somebody who is not a professional actor? Like, for example, Kevin O'Leary comes in here. I don't think he's ever acted before, has he?
I mean, he acts every day.
Well, right.
No, I mean, that part was actually probably the most written part. And you write a corporate colonialist, and you want somebody with a ruthlessness and somebody who's kind of puts their principles aside, is almost unprincipled, but has their own set of principles. And you look to the landscape of actors, and then you start to branch out, and you start to think of businessmen, and you really just want someone in that, because you want someone to enter the film and immediately be able to speak the dialogue without saying one word. You want someone to bring baggage to it. And I think that Kevin, in particular, in the public sphere, he operates in a world of assholedom. Like that is his iconic superpower. And what's special, and he represents like kind of a cold, corporate, ruthless American dream ideal. And so when he enters, he doesn't have to open his mouth, and you know that character. And even if you don't know who Kevin O'Leary is, I think you feel that because it's who he is, it's in his essence. So when we write, Ronnie and I spend endless hours writing these characters and trying to understand them, and then you go and spend time with him, and you do these readings, and you try to kind of tailor them to him. But in the end of the day, you only have him. You know what I mean? So you're gonna get farther than you could ever get with two of us.
Yeah, I mean, just to add, I've watched every episode of Shark Tank. I don't watch any TV. I've seen every episode. I've watched it with no expression on my face. If you were to watch it, you wouldn't think I'd be enjoying myself. But but that show, I mean, where it just fits so slotted so perfectly into the themes of the movie is just that show is like the most packaged disseminator of like the American dream in such a cartoony way, but it's like pure propaganda. But in like, what is the show? It shows like all you need is an idea or a talent, and you can completely jump the line. And it's an idea that's like baked into the DNA of American identity. And that show is a reason why it's like playing in every hotel room all over the world, So yeah, I just wanted him in the movie really badly. Yeah. And then we called him.
Well, but when Jennifer was like, "Oh, I set up a meeting with him," I felt like I was on Shark Tank when I zoomed with him. I felt like I was pitching him, and at any moment he could say, "For those reasons, I'm out." But I was shocked to see that, to learn slowly, like, wait a second, he's kind of pitching me, and he saw it as an opportunity to be in a film, and so yeah, it was. I don't know, I felt like Marty in that moment. I felt like I was selling the orange ball to him.
Darius, I promise I'm coming in 1 second, but I want to just follow up on that with Timothy, Gwyneth, and Odessa, because when you're working opposite somebody like that, or some of the other people who have not previously acted professionally, does it sort of almost keep you on your toes in a different way? What's that like for you guys? I mean,
well, I think Jennifer said it beautifully, which is, there's a certain alchemy that's brought to the scene that is unpredictable, and sometimes maybe means that Josh is giving more direction in a sense than you would another professional actor. But then when a magical moment happens, like with Kevin, like with
Luke Manley,
who plays
incredible.
Dion in the movie, was really extraordinary. That Josh cast off of a Knicks fan video, if I'm not mistaken. And
Was it Trey? Wait, what is it? Trey's was like.
I don't even talk about it.
Yeah, you can't say that in this setting.
No.
No, but
I almost said it.
No, but it's I think it's exhilarating. Yeah, it keeps you on your toes.
and Gwyneth, you were having a lot of scenes with Kevin. Any particular?
Yeah,
memorable?
I was, I was really curious to see how it would play out, and I think Timmy's right when, it's like there's a bit of an electric thing, like, does he know, like, what hitting his mark? You know what I mean? It's like, does he know, and how is the flow back and forth, and, or with the cops that we had in Central Park.
Say the cops.
Wait,
were a
those
bit
were
weird.
those were first timers.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, they were
Yeah.
great. What the hell?
Great.
And
And
it looks like
was
Richard
awesome.
Wright and Fred Gwynn. It's like Cop 54 kind of.
They were scary.
Yeah.
yeah, they were scary, and then one of the cops went on this whole wild improv
God.
about how his
This is
sister used to
amazing.
have pictures of Kay Stone on her wall, and he fucking hated her.
It was insane.
Wild,
Yeah,
remember
that was
that?
Absolutely,
insane,
yeah.
It was like
I fucking hated her.
It was hard. We tried really hard to get that into the scene. It just.
It was pretty.
It was
It
hard
was
to
pretty
work.
amazing. Talk about being on your toes. I was like, wow, okay, this is. But I.
Well, my favorite during that, when we tried to have, because he did it great on camera, off camera. It was on you the first time he did it. It's like, oh, I'm gonna turn around and get that again. When we were on you, and he said it the first time, you were looking at him and you had no idea where he was going. He's like, my sister had pictures. He's like, yeah, yeah. And he goes, and I fucking hated it. You go, yeah. You were so good. It was so great to see you on your toes, and I loved seeing you kind of come out of your comfort zone a little bit. You were,
I loved it too. It was really. It was fun.
That's great. Darius, they call you the Prince of Darkness, I believe, because you're so good at lighting for dark, which is certainly
Darius, love you.
used in here. Also, though, I think you show in this film just an ability to. It seems like be moving on the fly, like controlled chaos. I don't know if that's a fair way of describing some of the action in this. And I just wonder if you can talk about how you both convey that feeling of, you know, of I don't know how else to call it, but SAFDIE-esque action, while also, you know, these are still beautifully framed and composed shots. I guess just the biggest challenges for you of achieving that, and also I guess specifically the ping pong matches, shooting those must have been kind of challenging and different.
Shooting the ping pong was very great. We shot it in a very classic way. I thought, no, not trying to do any kind of, you know, commercial gimmick and make it like, you know, the most, you know, show off shots, you know. So I also found it was no. I think Josh talks very well about the camera. So I enjoy so much listening to all of you talking about the film that I don't really want to talk about it. And forget about the Prince of Darkness. The movie is very bright. It's like it's very luminous and bubbly and exciting because of the actors. So I don't know. I'm not.
Darius is.
I prefer to listen to you guys.
A huge part of filmmaking is the transferring enthusiasm, and Darius. One of the things I love about my collaborations with Darius is he can respond to something that stems from life. So Jen, you know, he would, instead of looking at locations, he wanted to watch the casting tapes to see the faces, because, you know, a face is a location, and that's the history of a film, and that's what got him excited, were the faces of the film and the actors that we had, and
It's all about the faces.
Yeah, that was.
Dreyer, like Carl Dreyer.
But the way you would look at light, the way you would, it's a physical thing for you. You know,
Light
it
is
hit
like a
people on the
movement,
face.
yeah.
It hit people on the face. It came in. You felt it. It was a presence all the time on set. And you know, trust me. I mean, you worked last time you were with Gwyneth was Seven, which one of the greatest looking films of all time. And I watched you lighting her in the hotel, and I asked Gwyneth, like, because Darius is a perfectionist, particularly with light.
Oh.
So yes.
Not a perfectionist. I hate perfection.
Perfectionist, I don't mean it that it needs to look perfect. It just needs to be perfect in your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's all about the faces. You're right. These films, like, I mean, it's close-ups, faces. You know, Timothée and Gwyneth and Odessa. And all these actors, all these incredible. It was a sheer pleasure to work on this film, like it was on Uncut Gems. It's like entering a portal, like entering a door and going into a marvelous world of, you know, of faces, of actors, it's a world of imagery that creates by itself when you have actors like this, and we have a script like this. When I read the script, I'm a very slow reader on script, and I read this script very quickly, like, you know,
There's
almost without
156 pages.
What?
With
No, no,
margins
really, the
stuff.
script was electrifying. And that's very, very important. I always think the director first and then the script. But then the script was very, very powerful. But then you enter this thing and you do the test and you have these, you photograph all these characters. Remember, we're laughing and having so much pleasure on every new face that was coming, and we're giving them names, you know, that we recalled Uncle James sometimes. Yeah, no, it was a wonderful adventure.
Well, last two questions for me. First of all, Josh and Ronald, it's not, as far as I know, that common for writers of a film to also be the editors, which you guys both do both. I wonder how much with you guys, again, with this action and pacing, there's such a immediately recognizable thing in your work with that. How much of that is spelled out in the writing? How much of it is kind of found in the editing?
Well, I'll just say, as far as being a writer, the nice thing about writing and editing is just that when you get to editing, you don't have to have any respect for the writer at all. You know, whereas you don't even have to pretend. You know, if something, no matter how essential something is, or how labored over it was in the script, and how essential it might be to the sort of forward progression of the story, if you don't like it, you just never even have to cut it. You don't have to even make an assembly, just out of deference to politeness. That's nice. It's very liberating. You know,
Do you remember when they tried to bring us the shooting script with all the notations, and they're like, "Well, here's," and we said,
we just never
What
read
is-
it.
what do
Never
we need
read
that
it.
for?
No, because when look, we do a lot. We do work very hard on the screenplays. On that side of it, it's probably the hardest part.
absolutely the hardest part.
And we're brutal. We're brutal to one another. Honestly, I think if we were to talk about our evolution in our creative partnership, it's just learning that we'll still be friends after.
We'll have a
everybody's writing this.
days-long argument about what happened to Marty's character when he was 8 years old. Because both of us know that the outcome of that backstory could actually affect something that we're fighting for actively happening in the script.
That's true. But
That's very true. Once we didn't talk to each other for a full day.
That's true. But it's worse than that. It's whoever, you know. And again, this is like very invasive, intimate work. Like almost every scene in the movie in some way is coming from somebody's, either Josh or somebody's personal experience in terms of interactions we've had in life and how they made us feel. So you're bringing, you bring an idea to the table, and then the other person, I mean, just brutalizes it, just ties it to a chair, and just swings a little light bulb over it, and just beats it up until it confesses its weaknesses. And what happens is the ideas, by the end, and the person who came up with it is joining in on the beating. And if it survives, then it has a reason to exist in the movie. That's so abstract, I'm sorry. But
No, it makes sense why they would write something like this, because listen to how they talk about it. It's like incredible. It's
But
crazy.
anyway, when we do get to editing, as far as pacing, like what causes the tension in the movie, John, I think, I don't think the editing's not very fast. So it's not what you think. It's not that we're cutting so quickly and that's creating some sort of like a rhythmic thing in the hearts of the audience. We're trying all the time to make a movie feel like it was written while it was unspooling, not even in the camera, but in the projector, you know? And that's how we want things to feel. And that immediacy, I think, is what helps to create some of the tension. Like where you can't predict where it's going.
Timothy, if we close with you if we can. That final scene, I thought you played so powerfully, and I wonder if you can talk about where you kind of went to find that, and also what you believe it sort of reveals about Marty's evolution by that point.
Well, I think maybe Josh could speak to it better than I could, but I think it's a confrontation with life to come, you know, growing up, responsibilities that are looking at him clearly in the mirror, adulthood, fatherhood, and having to fess up to it, you know, and whether he makes market changes in his life that reveal a growth in him as a man, or whether he falls short of the responsibilities of being a father is, you know, left to be seen in Marty Supreme too. No, but that's not happening. But that's what's going on there.
I think John Lennon made the quote famous, saying life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. I think dreams exist. They're very lonely things to have a dream. They're for the lonely. And they're solitary kind of exercises in a way, but they're very important for life, for human existence, because they bring about change. Whether you succeed or fail, it's the journey that kind of elicits the change, what you learn from it. And I think the hollowness that he feels at the end, he thinks about the most important thing is the belief, and that dream ends for another one to begin. And I think that, that Marty was trying to take fate hostage in the beginning, his own fate hostage. Dreams are a heist on fate. They try to strangle fate and control it. And I think that at the end, what's beautiful about it is that he's trying to rebel against this predetermined path. And at the end, he ends up exactly where that predetermined path dictated, except it's a completely different feeling. He's arrived there on his own terms and through his own journey, and it's that much more meaningful. And that, to me, is what is so powerful for me. I have daughters, and you spend life going, again, dreaming and living outside of time. Dreams exist outside of time, and you jump up for them. And when you come back down, life kept moving. So when you come back down, you're in a totally different place, and it's psychedelic almost, but it's incredibly emotional to know that we have one lifetime, and you can spend that entire lifetime looking for this one thing, and you realize, wait a second, that might not even been what it's about. And I think Tyler said it the best when he saw the film. I wish Tyler was here. He said, Marty was trying to win at this game, and it took him till he won to realize the game was against himself, and that was who he was finally beating. And that was very happy point.
Great. Well, congratulations, guys. Thank you so much for.
Thank you, son. Thank you all for staying and listening to us talk.